we're going to start today by looking at Eileen, new out last week, came out last Friday. Andy, do you want to introduce this to us?
Absolutely. This is a fantastic thriller which does not go where you expect it to go. Here's a clip.
I live a little differently than most people. They're probably scared of you. Prison is no place for a young lady. You got a big life ahead of you, I'm sure.
I'm just kind of average, I think.
You really think you're a normal person? I bet you have brilliant dreams.
Very much Hitchcockian, isn't it? Andy, do you want to carry on with your views of this?
And your Hitchcockian comment there, Bob, probably sums up why I loved it so much. You know, I consider Hitchcock the greatest. I think that this is a fantastic thriller with some stirring performances, an amazing story that does not go where you expect it to go. There is one moment in this film where everything just turns on its head, and you sit there in your seat and you go, "What?" You know.
I did describe it. I did pre-warn you last week, didn't I? I said there was a WTF moment.
There, and I was actually thinking about you when that line came up. I think Bob is absolutely right. Terrific performances. I'm a huge fan of Thomasin McKenzie. I think that she, along with Anna Taylor-Joy and one or two others, are turning into the finest actresses of their generation. I thought it was a tremendous performance. Anne Hathaway is great. So we're in Massachusetts. It's 1965. It's Christmas. Thomasin McKenzie works as a secretary in a prison. He becomes very enamoured with the new counsellor, a very glamorous Hathaway. And the two of them begin to form a bond and a relationship. I don't want to say anything more than that, because the least you know about this going in, the better. It's one of the very best thrillers I've seen all year. And the other interesting thing for me is it's 96 minutes long. Now, given the length of some films we've had recently, where things have been stretched out to sheer boredom point, at 96 minutes, this has a story which has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Brilliant performances, great score, great music. I mean, great 60s soundtrack. I love hearing the Exciters on there in a disco scene, with a nightclub scene with Tell Him. There's some great 60s songs on there. I just thought that this was really taut-tight storytelling that had me captivated from the moment it began to the moment it ended, and took me completely by surprise, which is, of course, what a good thriller should do. So I loved it. Yeah.
Good. Emma can't be with us this evening, but I do have some notes from her, and she did see Eileen. She says that she liked the premise of the film, but something seemed to be lacking in the execution for her. It felt like a very slow, methodical lead up, and then suddenly a lot of things happened, which is very true, and not all were entirely believable.
But that was it just jolted you out of your seat. You know, just suddenly jolted you, and you thought, where did that come from? And I love being taken by surprise. Too many films are too predictable. You know, they plod along and we can see what's going to happen. You can see where they're going. This one was not. And that was the joy.
I would absolutely agree. I mean, I saw this at the LFF quite a few weeks ago now, but it's kind of stayed with me. I think Thomasin McKenzie is just fantastic in just about everything she's been in. Last Night in Soho, Jojo Rabbit. She was even good in that terrible film Old with the M. Night Shyamalan film. She was about the only thing that was decent in that film.
That wasn't terrible, Bob.
It was pretty awful. And Anne Hathaway as well. I mean, she's almost an archetypal Hitchcockian blonde in this, isn't she? I thought Shea Wiggum was very good as well in the film as her father. Sorry, not Anne Hathaway's. Thomasin McKenzie, Eileen's father in the thing. It somewhat amused me that his surname was Wiggum and he was playing a police chief, so he was Chief Wiggum, but that was probably just me. I mean, I must admit this was a film of two parts for me. The first 2/3 I thought were wonderful, building up the kind of mousy appearance of Eileen, her fantasies, and introducing the character played by Anne Hathaway into the mix, I thought was brilliantly done. And it was really building up into a kind of Carol-style romance between the pair of them, which is where I thought the film was going to go. And there were some great lines in there. So at one point, Anne Hathaway says, "Your face is plain but fascinating," and it was just such a great performance by Thomasin McKenzie, who is not an unattractive girl, that she was actually be able to portray this kind of mousy nobody in the film. And then we had that twist, which we won't mention, but the line of dialogue, and the film went off at not even 90 degrees. It went kind of 180 degrees, completely different direction. And I'm afraid the end of the film just didn't do it for me. Not because of the twist, but because where the twist took the film. I thought the finale was a real damp squib for me. I had my 10 out of 10 card in my hand, in my pocket, ready to show, and unfortunately, the end of the film, it crashed the plane for me, and the card went back in my pocket again. Presumably, I mean, it's based on a book by Atessa Moshfegh, and presumably that's what the book does.
I mean, she said in an interview that she felt the film was better than her book.
Right.
So that's interesting. For me, the ending. For me, the ending was all about possibilities. Where was this going? You know, and I thought the ending was intriguing, and I quite like being left to fill in the blanks in a way.
Okay.
Okay.
But I mean, in the end, Scores on the Doors, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Emma has given it a 6 out of 10. Andy?
8.
8 out of 10. Okay, so we get for Eileen, a William Oldroyd's new film, a score of 7 out of 10 as the Flickering Dreams score, which makes it a marginal hit. But we got it over the line, which I think is probably a good thing.